If your throwing program consists of going to the field, tossing, maybe a little bit of stretch in between, then long tossing with your buddy, coming back, putting some ice on, then you don't have a throwing program. You're asking for negative results and potential injury. You should be starting out with an assessment before you go out to throw competitively. Before you're trying to attempt to go to tryouts or you're opening up spring ball, an assessment needs to be done post winter workouts to figure out what has happened to your body. Has there been improvements to your strength? Are you restricted in any of your flexibility and mobility? Where are you physically at this point in time? What has affected you? Once you get an assessment done by a trainer, by a physical therapist, and you know what your range of motion looks like, you know where your body health is at that point in time, then you should start the process of getting engaged with your throwing arm, okay? And it's not just the arm. There's a lot of things that work into that upper thoracic, your entire AC joint, your neck, which is a very big part of that. What does your scap health look like? You need to move forward from there. Once you have your baseline from your assessment, then you can start managing load. Everything with throwing should be load-based. You need to know what your body can handle. You need to know what your joints can handle. Load-based throwing is extremely important. Managing that throughout your off-season, your preseason, and into the season is extremely important. Using your J-bands, managing your weighted ball program, knowing how much load you're putting on your body, being able to lift properly in proper repair cycles also is critical. Having the proper set of repair cycles to go through, whether you're a starting pitcher, whether that's a 5-day or 6-day cycle, depending on what your school rotation looks like or your pro rotation looks like, and then also managing that if you're a reliever two-way player, you need to manage load. Again, your J-band program, getting your weighted ball program, managing your weightlifting in between, and then being able to actually write down what you're doing. Okay, there's plenty of apps for that. There's a lot of information out there on how to keep track of that. But being able to monitor your load and how much you're putting on your shoulder, your elbow, your back, your thoracic, your neck area is extremely important. At this point in the year, it's critical to start motor mapping and getting an idea of where your throwing pattern is and getting solid motor mapping. Having a solid release point. There is no such thing as a repeatable delivery. We need to stop saying that as a community. We just need to be consistent. Motor mapping helps with the consistency. Motor mapping all of your pitches helps with the consistency. Once you've gained confidence in that and their muscle memory is there so that you can be consistent, then you can move on and progress. You start tossing with purpose. Tossing is the best time to touch and feel all of your pitches. What you think they're doing and what they may actually be doing are two different things, but you still have to build confidence and touch and feel. Tossing with purpose is critical to that. That's not just, I'm out here throwing and catching the ball way over here, and you've thrown 10 pitches and not one of them has hit your target. Toss with purpose. That is part of your command training. It's part of a solid throwing program. You also want to get involved in long toss with purpose as well. Getting a little bit more distance, not cutting yourself off at 120 or 180 feet, but letting your arm eat, letting your arm grow stronger, but maintaining a focus on load. Don't just go out and try to throw 300 feet the first day if you're not capable of doing that. If you're long tossing and you're progressing, you should be able to get to a point where you're also being able to hit your target with a little bit of command. If you're going to work yourself back, you've got to keep in mind that you can't just go out and long toss 300 feet on the first day. We don't want to limit ourselves to 120 or 180 feet. We want to be able to eat and let our arm be healthy, but at the same time, you may not be able to do that on day one. You've got to progress. You've got to be able to throw with some arc and be able to get something behind it. But if you're throwing 75, 78 miles an hour, it's not likely that you're going to be able to get at far distance. You need to be able to work on your throwing pattern, clean that up, being efficient, getting the ball out a little bit further as your arm grows stronger. Flat ground and bullpen work follows that. As we're starting to see, flat ground may not be much different than the bullpen, but there are a lot of programs that preach flat ground, flat ground, flat ground, then go to bullpen. That's fine. If that's what your program's calling for, you can do that. But again, we're managing load. How much stress is being put on the arm? Soft tissue feedback. What is my body telling me? If I'm overly sore today and I'm not on a good recovery program, it's not likely that I should be throwing with a high load or high amount of stress. You need to listen to yourself. The recovery piece of your throwing program is the cornerstone of the throwing program. You can only throw as much as you can recover. You've got to have a solid recovery program. We use the Driveline recovery throwing program because it's outstanding. We use it in conjunction with our Jaeger bands. It's very important to follow up with that. But each one of our players' recovery programs is a little different than the other based on skill set, size, strength, how old they are, just physical maturity. There's a lot of things that play into that, and also their assessment. What did their assessment tell us about their flexibility, mobility, what kind of range do they have, range of motion do they have? There's just a lot of factors that play into what our players can recover from. And we push that forward. We want them to push themselves a little bit, but we only want them to be able to throw as much as they can recover. If you have any questions about your throwing program, or if you need help setting one up, or just some general questions about what's been assigned to you from your school, please feel free to reach out to us. Our contact information is in the description below. If you'd like to leave some comments, please do so. We are very good about getting back to people in a very short amount of time. But thank you again for tuning in to the Cincinnati Throwing Club YouTube channel. We look forward to posting more content for you in the future. Take care.